Seniors, as far as I know, this is the last time that anyone will ask you to pay attention on this campus. And I'm only going to ask for about 12 minutes or so. Obviously, today is one of the biggest reference points in your life. You've got the day that you get married, you have the day that you have your first child, and you have today, the day that you graduate high school. And so what my goal is that you will remember at least one thing that I have to say. I graduated high school May 26th, 1989, and I don't even know if we had a speaker that night. And about 4 months ago, Mr. Hammonds called and he said, would you be interested to come and speak to the senior class? And of course, I was excited, and that night I laid in bed and I tossed and I turned, and I was trying to come up with a way that I could be memorable. And around midnight, it hit me, and I got up and I scribbled a few notes on a notepad, and I had several ideas that I wanted to share, but the one theme that I thought would make me memorable, and what better way to be memorable than to tell you the truth. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull back the curtain of adulthood, and I'm going to share 7 brief truths with you. And I will start with truth number 1. You've been lied to for the last 18 years. You've been told you can be anything that you want to be. And it's not true. You can't be anything that you want to be, because if you could, I would just be finishing up a world-class 20-year career in the NBA. So you can't be anything that you want to be. Now, what April said in the introduction is true. And, I was reading the newspaper this week announcing the graduation tonight and that I would be coming to speak. And I was thinking, wow, this is great. I'd like to hear me speak. But the rest of the story should give each of you hope. 25 years ago, I graduated from Escambia Academy, which most of you are familiar with. I graduated 12th in my class, but there were only 15 of us. And that included the exchange student from Brazil, Bia Velassa. So the truth is, I'm just a C student from Cowpen Creek Road in Canoe, Alabama. And 25 years ago, I was sitting right where you're sitting tonight, and I had no idea where I was going, but I was headed there at 110 miles per hour. So what I want you to understand first is, if your emotional stability relies on being one thing, and for that one thing to define whether or not you're successful or not, it's going to be a rough ride. Because success is not gauged on how much money you make or how much stuff that you acquire. The truth is although you can't be anything that you want to be, you can have a successful life, and you can have a life filled with peace. Of course, I can't give peace to you, but I can tell you where to find it, and I will tell you that in just a few minutes. But I'll move on to truth number 2. You cannot allow your life to be defined by things that you can lose. There's nothing in this life that says that you're going to be rich, happy, and beautiful. This life will be full of ups and downs. You're going to have some tremendous success, and you're going to unfortunately have some heartache. And what I want you to understand is this. In the moment that things are happening and good things are happening, they're never as good as you think they are. And in the moment that bad things are happening, it's never really as bad as you think it is. Throughout this life, you're always going to be dealing with some type of life crisis. And I say this a lot. You're either about to go into a life crisis, you're in the midst of a life crisis, or you're coming out of a life crisis. And I know what most of you are probably thinking, well, if I can just be rich, I won't have those kind of problems. That's not how it works. Every day I get to talk to people about their money, and what I can guarantee you to be true is this. If your life is spent in the pursuit of stuff, you may already be thinking, well, if I could just get the new car that I wanted, if I could date a particular cute guy or a cute girl, if I could graduate from college with a degree that I want, if I could get the job that I want with the degree that I had, if I could make $100,000, if I could be a millionaire, all my troubles are going to be gone. If that's your life pursuit, you're in for a life of disappointment, because there's never enough stuff and enough things that can fill the hole that's inside of all of us. And there is no one thing or one person that can fill that hole, myself included. But I can tell you how to fill it, and I will do that in just a minute. And by the way, money buys stuff, And there's absolutely nothing wrong with wanting stuff. You just can't let it dominate and rule your life. I think that the most misquoted scripture in the Bible is that money is the root of all evil. That's not what it says. It says the love of money is the root of all evil. So what I want you to know in truth number 2 is don't let your life be defined by things that you can lose. So truth number 3, and this is one of my favorites. You've probably already figured this one out for yourself already. I want you to take a minute and I want you to think of the person who has sacrificed the most for you to be here and educated on this campus. So do you have that person in mind? The truth is that much like me, the C student, they're really not that smart. And I bet that if I could talk to you individually, they may have been getting dumber and dumber as the years have gone on. But here's the truth. These are the only people on this earth that love you more than their own life. And they may not be that smart today, but what they are is wise. The gray in their hair, the lines on their face are from living life. And I would encourage you to get to know these people again, because I can promise you they're more than willing to share their life experience and tell you about their mistakes, to help you learn from their mistakes, and more importantly, so that you won't make the same mistakes. Someone has sacrificed, and as Michael said, he appreciates that. Someone has sacrificed for you to be educated on this campus, and I would strongly encourage you to get to know them, and before you go to bed tonight, make sure you tell them how much they appreciate that sacrifice. And by the way, believe it or not, you're privileged to have been educated on this campus, because the faculty and staff are not getting rich off the tuition. They're here because they care about you, and I would encourage you to run them down before the weekend is out and tell them how much you appreciate their efforts in educating you. Truth number 4, you're going to look back on today, and it is a defining moment. Everybody references, well, when I graduated high school, this happened. And right now, tonight, you have one foot in adulthood, and you want to be treated like an adult, and you want to be treated with respect. And what I would encourage you, starting tomorrow, I would encourage you to start acting like it. This section is from personal experience. Some of you are already using filthy language in your everyday conversation. And what I want you to know is in the adult world, it's not cute and it's not funny. I had to learn the hard way early on in business. In the business world, even the man that uses ugly curse words, profanity, doesn't want to hear you do it. It's offensive. So I would encourage you to stop that. Some of you are drinking alcohol casually already, and I would beg you, please stop that. It will absolutely destroy your life, and it will cause heartache for the people that you care about. And I've never heard anyone stand up, give their testimony, and say, you know what, my life was really headed in the wrong direction, started drinking a little beer, and everything seemed to turn around. I lost my oldest brother, Lance, when he was 29 years old to a car wreck, and I would beg you, please don't drink. Some of you are giving yourself emotionally, maybe even physically, to someone that doesn't care a thing about you, but you think you're in love. Those are privileges reserved for marriage. You are damaging your future relationship with your future husband and future wife. I would encourage you to reconsider. But understand this, it doesn't matter who you've been for the last 18 years. Tomorrow's a brand new day. If you've been Russell all your life and you want to be introduced as Russ, tomorrow's the day to be introduced as Russ. Truth number 5, your life will be driven by the books that you read and the people that you choose as friends. The smartest, most educated people that I've ever met are people that are high school educated, that just love to read. So first, I would encourage you to read to learn. And second, I can tell you that this is critically important to a successful life. To be successful, you need at least one accountability partner. And what is an accountability partner? An accountability partner is someone that knows everything that's going on in your life, every detail. They're willing to tell you when you're doing things that are flat out wrong and to stop it. And you love them enough and care about them enough to listen. You know, my dad used to say that if you have one true friend in this life, you have your share. And if you have two, you have someone else's. I would encourage you to find an accountability partner. And by the way, the mate that you're looking for, I would encourage you not to judge them on how fine they are today, because Gravity is very tough on the body. And they're not going to look the same 10 years from now as they do today. So I would encourage you to judge your future mate by their character. Do they make you a better person? I'm married over my head. My wife makes me a better person. Truth number 6. You don't go through life and just spend money. The most valuable asset that you will ever give to another person is your time. There's only 24 hours a day, and that even counts for rich people. You also spend emotional currency. I would encourage you to consider, in this life, you will spend more time and emotional currency on things and people that do very little to bring value back to your life. So starting tomorrow, what I'd like for you to consider is take inventory of where you're spending your time and your emotional currency, and are you getting something back for that? A great goal is that if every week you could find someone to do something for that A, they can't do for themselves, and B, they can never repay you. That would be a successful life. The 7th truth, the last truth that I want to share with you is actually the most important. So if you give me just a couple of more minutes. I said earlier that I could tell you how to have a successful life, and I told you that I could tell you how to fill the hole and the emptiness that's in everybody. Right now, what most everybody is going to try and do, what you're going to try and do, and what we're all trying to do, is fill that hole with stuff and things and money and people that make us happy. Of all the things that I can tell you about to have a successful life, they pale in comparison to the 7th truth. The greatest truth of all time is that the God of the Holy Bible is real. The Bible is full of first-hand accounts of real men and real women that walk this earth. It is not a book of fiction. Jesus Christ is exactly who He said He was. You know, today it's popular to say, well, I'm not religious, I'm spiritual. Don't say that. Don't say that. There aren't many ways to heaven. There's one. In John 14:6, Jesus Christ Himself said, I'm the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father but through me. And if you haven't accepted that truth, we need to talk when this is over, because that's what matters more than anything. There are 31 Proverbs, one for each day of the month. And so what I want to do is challenge you. Every day for the rest of this year, I would like for you to read the proverb that corresponds with the day of the month. And yes, there is an app for that. If you want to have peace in your mind and in your heart and have a successful life, I would encourage you to read your Bible. Slip on the armor of the one true living God. Not some self-help book to tell you how to feel good. Do not allow your life to be defined by things that you can lose, because the saving grace of Jesus Christ is forever. And I will close with this. Over the last 12 years or so, I've gotten to talk with hundreds of young people. And what I want to do is I want to make you the same offer that I made each one of those young people. If you're trying to figure out where you're going and you think that I might be able to help point you in the right direction, get in touch with me. And Coach Russ knows exactly how to get us together. And I want to help you. I hope that at least one thing that I've had to say is something that you'll remember, so when you're my age, you'll remember. I sincerely appreciate the opportunity to just share some ideas with you. And I do truly, sincerely hope that God will richly bless your life.